Hello, welcome to the Ladybug Project, empowering the small and silent to open their wings, shine bright, and fly. We are raising awareness for child molestation. My name is Kara Adams.
And my name is Alyssa Weinhodge.
And we are the Ladybug Project. We are getting to a point where we can offer books to children in schools and counseling centers and abuse centers to give them the tools to empower them against what has happened to them in their past. Right, Alyssa?
Right. And we will be featuring more special guests throughout the series. We had a very special guest last week, Megan Nolasco, a counselor.
Mm-hmm. And today we are speaking on empowerment. So notice the shirt, fear less. Fear be gone. So a lot of people have a lot of different theories on fear, and some people feel like fear is good. It heightens our senses sometimes. But too much fear, living in fear and not doing anything and being empowered and living your life and taking on your power can keep you back from everything that's amazing right over the other side of that wall of fear. Today, I was talking to Alyssa earlier, and we were talking about how we cannot change our past. Unfortunately, things that have happened to us before, they are part of our story. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to have it as part of your story now, but it was a part of your story in the past, and it's your old story, and now you can have a new story. And this new story is awesome because we're talking about how your life is a letter, and that your letter is your life. You are understanding that your past is not going to allow you to steal the path that is before you, your life that is before you now. You don't have to live in that. You don't have to live emotionally scarred forever. You don't have to physically come across like a victim all the time. And I'm speaking from experience. For those of you that are like, well, who is this girl saying that, I don't have to do this, or I have to do this, or I'm not telling anyone they have to do anything. I'm just saying that as a child, I was molested, and I've experienced a lot of things in my life that I don't want to relive. And so now I am taking back and creating a new life for myself. So one thing I wanted to say about empowerment is allowing yourself not to focus on the pain or the trauma of your past. A lot of times, yes, we need to get to that place of healing. We need to allow ourselves to go to that place so we can grow from that place. If you look at your life as a garden and you say, okay, sometimes I need to soak myself in the tears and in the fears of the past so that I can water my future garden. And it's not that you're burying seeds to that something is dying. It's the fact that you're taking seeds and you're burying them to create anew and to let something else prosper. So I thought that was really cool. I was reading a little bit about that, just having really good soil. And my life, I feel like, is a letter. Because your life, basically, if you think about a letter that you write and you're going to send it off to 5,000 people, and 5,000 people are going to read this letter. What do you want this letter to say? Do you want this letter to focus on the trauma you've been through? And do you want this letter to be written out of your emotions, where you're frustrated and you have all these attachments to the people that you're angry at in the past? Or do you want this letter to reflect something more that is going to empower other people and honestly empower yourself? So what type of letter do you want to write that shows, I don't want to say shows. Here's what I want to say. I want to say this about the letter, Alyssa. I want to say that in my past, I wrote letters, and my letters reflected a very hurt child. They reflected someone that was in constant pain. Now, do I want my legacy to be that? Because that is not what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be a totally different. What's up, girl? She wants to put her 2 cents in. She wants to put her story in, Alyssa. Can she? So if I'm going to have, I think Alyssa was going to ask me a question, and I'm already kind of answering it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Kara.
You asked me, Alyssa.
So deciding, like, what brought you to the place of deciding, or how you wanted to write your letter now, or how did you gain that shift in perspective from focusing on the trauma all the time to making choices that would write a new letter to your life?
And I believe that it's my children, pretty much. My children impacted me to the point where if they read my letter, how is it going to benefit them? And how is it going to empower them? So my letter changed over the course of time. It changed, and it only changed because I knew it needed to change. And the fact that my children needed to have a healthy mother and a healthy parent in their life that could respond without emotionally being upset and without responding in a way that was not healthy. The word health and healthy include the word heal, Heal. And I believe if we want to write a letter that's going to be impacting and responding to people in a way that is driving other people to their passions and to be fully who they are as a person, that we can't have anything that's boggling us down and saying, I'm so angry at this person, or because all that comes across as is anger. And what do you want to do to get someone angry? You just want to infest more anger, right? So are we at a place, I had to come to a place where I empowered myself, or I was able to read more and do more. And so then I could shift through all the emotions and not be attached to the emotions and not be angry or sad or mad or happy, or I just could come to a place and go, this is what I have to say. Mm-hmm. And I said it. And so I love that. I love that you don't have to say, you don't have to be caught up in all these other emotions. It's like when your kids are pitching a fit and you're like, you can't take it personally. You took a toy away from them because they were misbehaving. Now, are you emotional about that? Oh my God, I'm such a horrible mother. I can't believe I took that toy away. What was I thinking? I mean, they hate me now. No, you took the toy away because they were hitting another kid with it. And so you're like, you know what? That's not allowed. Boom. Mm-hmm. No emotion. It's not allowed. It's not tolerated. Mm-hmm. So my letter is, that's huge to me. My whole perspective changed because as a parent, we have to realize we are impacting people. So no matter who you are, if you think, oh, and nobody listens to me, nobody acknowledges me, nobody thinks about me, that's where you're wrong. Because every person impacts minimum 5,000 people. So are you at a place in your life where you're healthy to write your letter? I mean that by, are you physically and emotionally healthy? Are you allowing yourself, emotionally healthy means you're going to get up and you're going to take care of yourself, maybe go for a walk. It doesn't mean you have to squat 200 pounds, but it does mean you have to love yourself enough to take care of yourself enough. And is that reflecting in the letter of your life? Mother Teresa's letter was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. She opened up these centers where people could go and die, like with integrity. That's why she opened up those places. She saw all these people dying on the streets. And I've been to India, and when I saw this kid on the street dead, it makes sense. Mother Teresa wanted a place for people to go and pass away with love. And that was her letter to the world. Her letter to the world was love. Taking in the dying, helping them go through life with integrity, with love, with strength, feeling cherished. Every person deserves that. So I realized I want my letter to be empowering. I want my letter to be an empowerment for other people to stand up and know they don't have to be silent. They don't have to feel ashamed about their past. They don't have to feel like that trauma is over them, hovering over them, and that sadness, that they can stand up and take that shame, throw it down. They can take that sadness and say, let me see the other side of that. And there's joy. And they can find their own strength, that they're not weaklings. Mm-hmm. What about you, Alyssa? I mean, do you think, does this letter metaphor apply to your life any?
Absolutely. I was excited that that our thoughts lined up about it. And when we say the letter of your life, it's different than actually writing out words. When I wrote my book, I did have to physically write all the pain that I could articulate about my experience in my life, because I needed to just get it outside of me and put it in a place where it could make sense and I could just have my emotions separate. So in a way it relates to what Kara said, like separating from the anger, separating from the sadness, the resentment, and putting it in a place. So whether you're a painter, a musician, a writer, or a gardener, or whatever you are, just doing something physical to get that experience outside of your body to the best that you can, so that you can start to make choices. Okay, how can I start writing my new life, the things I didn't have control about, that somebody interjected into my story to inflict horrible trauma. And how can I detach from that and start making choices to be who I want to be? So part of that for me, we're going to do a series specifically on forgiveness, but in relation to reclaiming your power, one of the biggest steps I took was to take the time to write my own definition on forgiveness. And I'll just say it for you. Maybe it'll help somebody. But for me, forgiveness is not allowing someone else's evil to dictate who I want to be. And it was important for me to think about that and write it, because for so long I felt like forgiveness meant I had to get to a place where I felt better about the perpetrator, or I couldn't envision liking the person again or being okay with this horrible thing they did, or not having any anger or pain. And so for the idea of forgiving was hard. But when I said, you know what, I don't have to accept the textbook definition of forgiveness or what I've heard in church about forgiveness, I can actually think about it, ponder it, meditate on it, and like write out, okay, what can forgiveness mean in my life? Mm-hmm. So that's just one example, but next week I think we're going to go into more specifics. Like there's so many choices throughout one day that involve taking your power back. I have to give myself multiple pep talks a day. That's one thing I do. So, and Kara's a good cheerleader in life if you need one. So, but there's multiple things. But yeah, definitely taking charge and deciding who you want to be, what friends you want to have, what do you want to do with your life or your day or each hour, and enjoying it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hope you guys enjoyed today. We're going to say hasta la vista for right now. And we will see you next week. Remember, if you keep feeling like you're failing in life or falling down, guess what? Get back up, and you know how not to fall and fail the next time, right? Boom. Truth bomb. Yeah. Everybody have an amazing day. Thanks so much. And we will meet with you next week on more empowerment. And then the week after, we'll be addressing forgiveness. Hi.
Take care.
I'm ending the recording.